Coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the last episode of the Filling Your Cup series this August. We have had amazing episodes, and today we are airing our last episode. It has been a 5-part series that focuses on refreshing, enriching, and nurturing your mental health. It is a buzzword today, mental health, and what a better way to bring it to the fore with tips that have worked. Tips that are already proving to serve me well, and I'm so honored to be able to share them with you. Thank you so much for being part of this. Now, as I said, it is a 5-part series, and so far we have covered 4, today being the 5th one. The first one we covered was filling your cup with motivators, and if you were there, you would have been present to the discussions around SMART goals, setting up SMART goals, and picking your inner circle, literally hand-picking your inner circle. The danger of just allowing your inner circle to happen, that therefore you do not have any influence, you don't have any influence on your inner circle. But being able to hand-pick them means you know who you want to be in your village, in your community, and you also understand what you are bringing to the table, what value it is you're bringing to the table. So you have objectives as you are picking your inner circle, and then there's the rewarding of self. Just putting all that together. The second one was on patience. And with patience, it was being mindful from a non-judgmental way of looking at yourself. Sounds weird, eh? Non-judgmental way of looking at yourself. Because in this way, you honor who you are, as opposed to really criticizing yourself to the point where you're paralyzed and you cannot move forward. Try and adopt a non-judgmental approach to your self-talk, to the way you look at yourself, and see how you end up blossoming in areas where you felt there was just a lot of blockage. Managing your expectations. I am so guilty of that. I've got high expectations of self, and therefore even higher expectations of others. And as a result, at times, I get to be paralyzed, like I've said before, and I cannot move forward, or I get really deeply critical, especially of myself. And therefore, getting up becomes a bit difficult to get up and onto that proverbial horse again and move on. And then there's a trusting of the process. And I gave amazing tips on just understanding what that means. And I'm sure when you go back to the recordings, you will be able to see the 2 specific examples that I gave. And in case you're wondering where the recordings are, they're here on IG Live. You can see on my platform here, Lucy, your Clarity Coach, or you can visit me on my YouTube page, which is LMC Consultancy. So once you get on there, you will be able to see that when we were talking about patience and trusting the process, it's giving it time to work, to unfold, to happen, as opposed to trying to press the quick button, or like in my day and age, the fast forward button. No, it doesn't help. You want to be able to savor the process, understand it, and love it. It really serves you well. That took us to honoring achievements, and no matter how small these achievements are, they help to build up the blocks, just like in a game of Lego that the children play. You want to be able to build up your blocks of wins, so that when you get swiped off by the disappointments, the rejection, the loss, the places where you think you did not show up your best, you've got your baskets of joy that you can go back and say, yes, I can. Yes, I did this. And I'm sure this resonates with some of you. And therefore, it's really a great place to be. So playing by your strengths and working on the lessons, very important. The 4th one was about lessons from failure, powerful lessons from failure. I believe that when we make mistakes, that is a stepping stone to success. However you see it, this is my opinion. I just hope that I can be able to convince you. Because once we make mistakes, it shows that we are working hard. And when we come back from those mistakes, we only improve. Without them, we do not see the areas of improvement. I hope I'm making sense to you. So you're able to step up from that failure. Know that failure is an integral part of life. If you're not failing, I don't know what life it is that you're living, because for sure it is really a life of fraud, of fakeness. It's a facade. You need to be able to fail in life so that you can rise up and only get stronger. Choose the silver lining of failure. Perhaps you are going through a spat of one bit of failure after the other. I know that I'm asking a lot, but take it from me. I have experienced this and I continue to experience it. It is the choice that you make in your mindset, whether you're going to look at this as a failure that is bringing you down or as a failure that is going to transcend you to the next level. So always look for the silver lining. I joke with my friends and I say that I belong to the silver lining club, simply and purely because when you have suffered a deep loss like I did, and that was a deep loss of losing my mother, I chose the silver lining from that loss. And many people say that I am in the denial stage of my mourning and I'm not accepting that mom has gone, au contraire, as the French would say. I actually am celebrating my mother's life. And yes, it was a deep loss. It doesn't take away the deep loss from me. But what does it do? It allows me to see the silver lining that my mother had to die for certain things to happen. Her time had come. She has shown me that I am going to run my own race. I'm running my own race. She's left a legacy. So the question is, Lucy, what legacy are you leaving? Great to see you there, operator. And your question is, how have you failed and bounced back? I have failed and bounced back when it came from loss, where I have worked in 5-star hotels and there were certain things that I did not do well, and these were called out. I was not given a second chance. How did I bounce back? I took the lessons from that, operator. I took the lessons of being consistent, of being determined, of being loyal, and that's what drives me today in my company. Those are my core values. I hope I have helped you right there. So those are the lessons of failure, but there was one last one, and that was extending grace to yourself. Therefore, forgive yourself. What is it that you need to forgive of yourself? Take a moment right now and let that just sit with you. What is it that you're holding on to? You cannot seem to move beyond it. Maybe, operator, you could share with us. What are you experiencing today that you would be better off if you forgave yourself? In forgiving, you open up. You remove that space that is being occupied in your mind rent-free, and you allow something new to come in. Operator, I'd love to hear from you. Where do you need to extend grace to yourself? Well, as operator is putting out the question or the answer there, or the commitment, or maybe a contribution, it's nice to see you there, Claire. It's been a minute. Welcome back. Today, it's about the choice of service. And I encourage you to be intentional and conscious about what you do for your mental health. So in this episode, we seek to know how to be of service while prioritizing our mental health. Because when we are of service, we tend to pour out of the cup and we forget to refill it. Yet we are doing something great. Thank you so much for those stars, Claire. We are doing something that is amazing in our lives and the lives of others. But we have to remember ourselves. We have to be able to nurture, to refresh, and to enrich our mental health so that we can keep going, because our time on earth is not yet done. So I'm going to share 3 tips with you that have continuously served me as a leader. So I am biased to service. This is my nature. When I do my personality test, this is what comes up at the top. So bear with me as I use this type of leadership as an example to service. The first tip I give you is empathy and humility. This is a huge thing. I did not give it a definition or a name or a label in the past. But now with my continuous learning over the last 5-6 years, I have seen the words that are able to give this meaning, that I was doing, and that was service. Empathy and humility. And if you have been following me, you've heard me speak endlessly about empathy. Being an empath worked so well for me because this is my nature actually. So you may not understand it because perhaps you're not an empath. But I hope this helps you to recognize how somebody else is responding to you. So I am an empath. I tend to put myself in somebody else's shoes and it gets me into a lot of trouble. But as it does, it also fulfills me because I'm able to see it from your point of view. That does not take away from the fact that I don't know what I know. I do, but it helps me to know more. And the way I get to know more is by practicing empathy and wearing your shoe. Humility is that lack of pride, so to speak. And I say that very gingerly. Lack of pride, or it's a meekness. Humility. It's the way you come and you show up in a situation with humility or with a meekness that is very endearing, that people do not find like it is intimidating. Instead, they embrace you. And when you are embraced by people when it comes to leadership, they're more likely to follow you, to listen to you. And you as a leader are able to influence, because this is what leaders do. Leaders are influencers. So a leader has followers. And you need to influence your followers. You see, being a servant leader and emphasizing on these two ways of being a servant leader, of empathy and humility, this particular approach benefits both you. Yes, you. You might be wondering how, and I'm not my own leader. Yes, you are. It benefits you. So Claire, I'm speaking to you. Operator, I'm speaking to you. What kind of style of leadership do you find yourself biased towards? Mine is servant leadership. And this is why I'm giving the first tip of humility and being empathetic. Actively listening is something that I do. And no surprise then I'm a coach, because a coach listens. A coach listens and has an open mind, which is a learning mind, a learning approach. A coach is not supposed to come into a session knowing. A coach comes in with a clean slate to listen to you. So as a servant leader, active listening is a big thing for me. I listen to your needs, I listen to your concerns, and I bear in mind that I can only help you truly when I am self-aware, when I'm listening to self. And many a times, as coaches, we don't listen to ourselves. We are here for service, and this is where I allude to the fact that we pour out and we forget to fill up our own cups. So I'm speaking about a leader from the aspect of being a mentor, a trainer, a coach. What about you? Where do you find yourself leading, and what kind of leadership style do you behaviorally put out? Is it really your behavioral style? Is it your personality style? Have you taken a test? There are free online tests where you can go in and be able to see what is your leadership style. I already knew, I just did not know it was servant leadership until I took a test, until I went in for training, and suddenly things were making sense. So being able to understand people's perspective and genuinely open to their ideas began to form something in me that was hungry to learn more about the human nature and why we do certain things and how we do certain things. I was so enriched. And this is the power of empathy and humility. I just found that when I did not have these two, I was blocking my growth. And this was not good for my mental health, because I came in and it was my way or the highway. But in this kind of servant leadership, I am able to take into consideration what people are thinking. So it's more like diplomatic. We bring our ideas to the table. We are able to understand, what do we need to do? Number one, self-awareness. Number two, we're supposed to be listening to other people actively. And number three, we need to have a learning perspective. We want to walk into a situation and be able to learn. But as we're doing this, remember what I was alluding to. If you do not fill your cup, how then can you be of help to others? So the question just comes back to you again, Operator and Claire. How is it that you are able to fill your cup and show up as a leader? I say you need to prioritize your self-care. Think about your mental health. Start with you before you go out, because the impact here is on personal growth. It fosters, yes, your self-awareness and your empathy and your humility. but it helps you to lead from a place of strength. Because now your cup is full, it's not empty. I mean, just think about a cup. If a cup is empty, what are you pouring out but air? You want to have either something solid in there or liquid in there that you can pour out into whatever area you want to pour out. I mean, this morning I was watering my plants. If there was no water in the jug, then what was it I was pouring into the plants? Nothing. What did I need to do? I need to go to a tap and fill up this particular can. How are you filling up yourself so that you can be of service to others? Coming from a strong point of view. Coming from a place where you understand what you're supposed to be doing. And even when you don't, you're self-aware and you're seeking to learn. Well, the second one is about serving as a role model. This is a good one because as we serve as a role model, and this has really worked for me, so I'm excited to share this with you, is you want to be the change that you want to see. I know it has been quoted by somebody, it was Mahatma Gandhi, I believe, and I've really crucified and massacred it right now. But yes, it is about you being that change that you want to see. Therefore, you have to be a role model of it. Imagine you are in a situation where you're a leader. Whether you're at home, you're in church, whether you're at work, whether you're in the society, in social groups, you're the leader in a certain aspect. If you're not the role model, then how else can we know how to follow you? Servant leaders understand the profound impact of setting an example. You see, to influence people positively, it is crucial to model the behavior you wish to see in others. And this entails demonstrating values, demonstrating work ethic and dedication, but also embracing your own mental health journey. It's not a sign of weakness when we begin to embrace our own mental health journey. In fact, when we embrace our own mental health journey, we are showing that we are human. We are showing our people that we are not only self-aware, but we are authentic. We are human. We are able to fall for things of this world that are going to destroy us mentally, because we have no purpose. We're just following for the sake of following. And this is a danger, definitely a danger. Authenticity and transparency about your own growth and self-care, and here read mental health, can inspire either others to prioritize their mental well-being also. Show that it is okay to seek help. It is okay not to be okay as a leader. Show that you're not the know-it-all. You're seeking help professionally and also from the team that you are leading. Because there are those amongst you who could have walked this path before you, and therefore they are seeking an opportunity to be your mentor. Remember that a mentor is somebody who has a know-how in a specific area, and they can share their ideas and their advice with you, who is a mentee, who is yet to walk this path. Give them that opportunity to do that, but then you have to be open to help. You have to be open to help. And this helps you again with your mental health. Remember, we're talking about nourishing, enriching, and nurturing your mental health. In these areas where you have the opportunity to be a leader, there's cohesion then that is happening. And this is the positive impact of being of service, choosing servant leadership. There is cohesion, and you can actually see this cohesion, and it comes about as productivity, as creativity, as people being innovative, people opening up. But this all depends on how we are leading from the top. We are told that a fish rots from the head. So that analogy means that in leadership, the rotting begins at the top. So if it is rotten at the top, it'll just rot all the way down. So if it is being enriched, nurtured, and if it is being refreshed, can you imagine what that does for the whole value chain as we go down? You're the leader. How are you choosing to be a role model? How are you choosing to show up? And I hope it is from a point of being authentic and transparent about your own growth, sharing, because we are humans first. So with your team, you will be able to see this creativity that's building up in their productivity and innovation. And as a result, because people are heard and they are seen, the mental health that they are going to be experiencing will be a positive one, not a negative one. And in part, this is because of you and who you are as a leader to them. Well, that was the second one, serve as a role model. The third one is empower and elevate others. Now, I have gotten into trouble so many times in my over 20 years of leadership when it came to empowering and elevating. You see, almost 20 years ago, these were not buzzwords, empowering, elevating. It was all about managers. It was not so much about leaders. Managers were task-oriented. We did what we were meant to do. But when we had this shift of leadership is when we began to realize that there is a very loud practical meaning between leadership and managers. However, 20 years ago, being a leader in my area of expertise was something very alien because leaders were perceived as something else. And that's a story for another day. See, a key aspect of servant leadership is empowering and elevating others. Now, what did I do in my places of work? I put my leads, and that I'm talking about the people who worked with me, and I put them in the front. I allowed them to do the work with my guidance. I allowed them to experience failure and come back and we have the discussion, and then I push them out again. I created like, how do we say, the word is disappearing from my head right now, but I created a workforce that was able to take over succession. That's the word I was looking for. I was able to create a team through succession that they could take over. Wherever it is that I worked or impacted people, when I left, the systems continued because the systems had to be run by people. Because I did this, I got into a lot of trouble. I was more people-centric. I had more of emotional intelligence even before we started using it in the workplace so actively as we do today. And I got into trouble with my bosses, the people that I reported to. Because my background is sales and marketing. And sales and marketing, if you're familiar with it, is all about driving numbers. But I believed for me to be able to drive numbers, I needed my team to feel heard, to feel seen. I needed my team to feel that they were in an environment where they could grow, and therefore I empowered them and I elevated them. I introduced tasks in that they were able to step up. I introduced cross-training in that they were able to move from one department to the other so they could learn and be elevated. In investing in my people's development, my team's development, and providing a learning environment and opportunity and celebrating their achievements, I was fostering their growth and I was contributing to their positive mental health or well-being. What is it that you do that is able to help others grow in this particular area? It's a good question for you just to sit and reflect about and see the things that you're doing right at this point. It's important. Baskets of joy. Remember, small achievements, we need to put them in our baskets of joy. However, it is essential to maintain a balance. So much as you're pouring out to your team, ensure that somebody else is pouring into you and that you're looking for ways to nurture, refresh, and enrich this cup of yours. It is so important as a leader. Otherwise, you will experience burnout, and you're no good to anybody when you are burnt out. So prioritizing self-care enables you to be a more effective leader, preventing that burnout as I'm talking about and preserving your mental health. And the impact is so positive. It's all around. You begin to feel it. People want to come to work because of the kind of leader they're coming to work with. People will leave places where they do not feel valued or they don't feel seen. What kind of leader are you? Are you the one who gets people to wake up and be motivated to come to work or to be part of the group that you're leading? Or are you the kind of leader who makes people just not want to come back to work and provide a toxic relationship or environment? So So by openly addressing mental health and self-care, you're contributing to reducing the stigma around these topics. And this is what I do. So everywhere that I work, everywhere that I go today, now that I know it's about mental health awareness, I make it part of my narrative as a leader. I also have sessions when I go online and I just feel that for my mental health, this does not serve me well. And I say it in the meetings. I go to the point of even leaving a meeting if I feel that my mental health is under fire or is being compromised. Are you able to do that as a leader? Because in so doing, you're being a role model. You're being able to show people that it's okay not to be okay and have time out. You're prioritizing your own self-care. So this fosters a culture of mental health advocacy and support throughout. You will even find that your direct report is coming to you and saying, so-and-so, Claire, I can see that today is not a good day. Perhaps could I step in for you? Or what kind of support do you need? What kind of resources? But this can only happen if you're able to show your own mental health journey. I hope I'm speaking to you. Those are the 3 tips that I was looking at today. One of them is empathy, humility. The other one is service as a role model. And the third one is empower and elevate others. Because we all have our own mentors. I mean, just think about it. Somewhere there's a mentor who has mentored you, knowingly or unknowingly. Individuals who have significantly shaped our perspectives and influenced us. So likewise, there comes a time, I'd say to you truly, because it happened to me. I had some very strong mentors as I entered the industry of hospitality. The tables have turned now. I am the one now that through my actions, other people are being impacted. And now I'm able to see my servant leadership. And it fulfills me. It really does. So in both scenarios of you being the mentor or you being the mentee and you being the mentee, mastering the art of servant leadership can be immensely beneficial, not only for those you lead, but also for your own mental well-being. And there we're coming to the end of our session. The 3 takeaways that I have for you today. Number 1, be self-aware. Whatever it takes, be self-aware. If it means you have to go to school to learn about self-awareness, if it means you have to go online, Udemy gives you some very good courses on that. Whether you have to speak to other people or just do your own Google assignments on being self-aware and taking the free tests that are online, do it. When you're self-aware, you come from a point of strength because you know most likely how you're going to respond to a situation. Number 2 is be authentic and transparent about your growth. Don't let it be the best kept secret. Share, because this way you are serving as a role model. Remember your values, your principles. These are things then that people begin to say, if Lucy is involved, this is how we're going to be doing things. Because you're very clear, you're very authentic about how you show up. So values and principles are important, guys. And third, but not least, the takeaway for today is prioritize your self-care. Read mental health, well-being. It is so important that you do this. So remember, becoming a servant leader while attending to your mental health and filling your cup has profound effects on both yourself and those that you influence as a leader. So no matter what kind of a leader you can be, you are, remember this is so important. Mental health, well-being. Now this marks the end of our August series of Filling Your Cup. And I do hope that I have given you actionable steps from all the tips that I have shared that are helping you to enrich, to refresh, and to nurture your mental health, which is so important in today's life. You're aware, you're intentional, you're conscious about it. Well, the recording of this session will be up on my YouTube channel by this evening, which is LMC Consultancy. And you know what to do once you get there. Subscribe and share with others who can benefit from this. Other than that, hit the notification button. So anytime we've got activities, anytime we've got Tuesday talks, we've got trainings, we're going places, you can join us. Check out our courses on my website, lmcconsultancy.com. www.thefilingyourup.com for more learnings, and on our social media pages, please go on there for personal development. I give you a lot of posts during the week which is towards your personal development. Most of them are from my own personal learnings, and you can find me on social media as Lucy, your clarity coach, whether it is Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, whether it is Twitter. That is where you can find me. Please look for me and let's keep talking. Claire, thank you so much. Lovely to see you. Joanne, you've come at the tail end, but you can get the recording or just revisit my IG page and you will be able to see what we were talking about today. So we welcome a new month next week, a month of balance, a month of the Libra, when we are balancing, and we have lined up 4 amazing topics for you all around balancing relationship and entrepreneurship. It's going to be a great season. Please make sure that you do not miss out on our September series. Let us help build one another. And until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.